Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare Rama Hare Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Hare Rama Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare Krishna
Ram Ram,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Hare Rama Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Rama Hare
Krishna
Rama Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram,
Hare, Hare Rama
Ram
Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Ram
Hare
Ram.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram.
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Rama
Ram.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Ram
Rama, Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama,
Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Ram
Rama.
Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram.
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram,
जय श्री
Ram
कृष्ण
Ram.
चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
Hare
श्रीवासादि गौर
Krishna,
भक्त वृंदा।
Krishna
हरे
Krishna, Hare
कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
Hare
हरे राम
Ram,
राम राम,
Ram
हरे हरे।
Ram.
हरे कृष्ण 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 कृष्ण,
Hare
हरे हरे,
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna
राम
Krishna,
राम, हरे हरे।
Krishna, Hare
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण
Ram,
कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे
Ram
राम
Ram.
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे राम
Krishna
राम
Krishna,
राम, हरे
Hare
हरे।
Hare
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Ram,
कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Ram
हरे हरे,
Ram.
हरे राम राम, हरे हरे।
Hare
हरे
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Krishna,
हरे हरे,
Krishna,
हरे
Hare
राम राम, हरे
Hare
हरे। हरे
Ram,
कृष्ण
Ram
कृष्ण
Ram.
कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे राम
Hare
राम,
Krishna,
हरे हरे। हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण,
Hare
हरे हरे,
Hare Ram,
हरे राम
Ram
राम
Ram.
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare Krishna,
हरे राम
Krishna
राम, हरे हरे।
Krishna,
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण, हरे
Ram,
हरे, हरे
Ram Ram.
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Krishna,
हरे हरे, हरे
Krishna Krishna,
राम, हरे हरे। हरे
Hare Ram,
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Ram
हरे हरे,
Ram.
हरे राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare
हरे राम, हरे हरे। हरे
Ram,
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे
Hare
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे
Hare Ram.
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Hare
हरे हरे,
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna
राम, हरे हरे।
Hare Ram,
हरे
Ram Ram.
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे राम, हरे
Hare
हरे।
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare
हरे
Hare
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे
Hare
राम, हरे हरे।
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna Krishna
कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare
हरे
Ram,
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare Krishna,
हरे राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण,
Hare
हरे हरे,
Ram,
हरे
Ram.
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण,
Krishna,
हरे हरे,
Krishna
हरे
Krishna
राम, हरे हरे। हरे
Hare Ram,
कृष्ण
Ram,
कृष्ण,
Ram
हरे हरे,
Ram.
हरे राम,
Hare
हरे हरे।
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण, हरे
Krishna
हरे,
Hare
हरे
Hare
राम,
Ram,
हरे हरे। हरे
Ram
कृष्ण
Ram.
कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे
Hare Krishna,
राम,
Krishna
हरे हरे। हरे
Krishna Hare Hare
कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,
Hare Ram,
हरे
Ram
राम, हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे
Hare
हरे,
Krishna,
हरे
Krishna
राम,
Krishna
हरे हरे।
Hare 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 Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Wait up,
Hare
hold
Krishna,
on.
Krishna
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Ram,
Yeah,
Hare
yeah.
Ram,
Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Krishna,
Rama Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram.
Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama
Ram,
Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasi Gaura Bhaktavrinda, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Bhakti Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining today. Another day in Krishna consciousness, Tuesday. So, Lavanya, Adipa Mataji, what is yesterday? Hare Krishna. Lavanya, would you like to do?
ఓకే దీపమాత చేస్తారంటనా
అడుగుతున్నా.
ల్యాప్టాప్ ఉన్నాను ప్రభుజీ ఐ కెన్ డూ ఇట్
Yeah.
Today you can do Mataji, tomorrow I'll do. Okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, Mataji.
Yeah, I made you host, Mataji. You can continue.
Okay.
Actually, I'm logging off, Mataji. You can continue. Hare Krishna. And thank you for taking up service. Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you for joining everybody. We'll start with Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Am I audible?
Yes,
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Mam chayo vyapicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Purport. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question, what is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna but his different plenary expansions such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person, otherwise there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman, or freed from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmaiva san Brahmapyeti. One can attain the supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. Hare Krishna. Samhita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Purport. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, and that is the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The 4 Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is a chance of falling down if one is not engaged in devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Rasovaisa rasam hi evayam labdhavanadi bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendentally blissful. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. The Supreme Lord is full in 6 opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these 6 opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on almost equal level with the king, and so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service.
Yes, Mataji. We'll give it to Sandhya Mataji next.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Sandhya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has a desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this, he falls down. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the 3 modes of material nature, but association with material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these 3 modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering, the prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord and his transcendental pastimes read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with his devotees, chant always transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and observe the fasting days, commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all the material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyotir or the different varieties of the Brahmana conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the three modes of material nature. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So we have 27 verses. And how many people are left? 3 of us have read it. Oh, another 6 are left. Sapan Prabhu, you are logged in with two logins, right?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, I have audio issues, so I'm using both
Achha.
laptop and phone.
ठीक है. Yeah, that's not a problem. I was just counting the number of people left to read. So it will be, I think, 5. So the rest can actually divide 5 each and read. We'll complete this chapter, the translations. Okay. Starting with Lavanya Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. So 5, right, Mataji? Hare
5.
Krishna?
5.
Yeah. Chapter 14, the 3 modes of material nature. Next one. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution." 3. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Text 5. Material nature consists of 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these 3 modes. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Lalitmohan Prabhu, can you read 5?
Yes, Mataji. Text 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is eliminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. Text 7. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to the material fruitive actions. Text 8. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Text 9. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Text 10. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition of supremacy. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Raju Prabhu, next 5.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Text
Krishna.
11. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptom of a great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sapan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Text 16. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery. And action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Text 17. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Text 18. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in mode of passion live on earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Text 19. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes. He attains my spiritual nature.
Thank you.
Text 20.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please continue.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bharat Prabhu, can you read? Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji, you can continue.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Chandramauli Prabhu, you can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Text 21. Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is..."
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes, please continue.
Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature?" Text 22 to 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards like happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of a death, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in the praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats like a both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all the material activities. Such a person is said to have a transcended the modes of nature." I'll continue, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Text 27. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, I was about to ask you actually, because we have time. Do you want to say something about this chapter?
Yeah, this chapter is actually, it actually speaks about the modes, Mataji. And from here, Krishna only speaks about modes of material nature. From this chapter till 20, till the last chapter, 18th chapter, he will only speak about the modes of material nature. So, in Bhagavad Gita, of the 54 minutes of the lecture, during that war, during just prior to the war, of that 54 minutes, 23 minutes he will cater to this, only to the modes of material nature. So why is this so important? Because Krishna wants to emphasize that in this material world, you cannot get rid of this. There is no way that you can get rid of these modes of material. So whatever you try, because if you see early in the morning, the sun, the rays which he emits will be in the mode of goodness, and at the noon, the rays which he emits, it will be in the mode of passion, and in the evening, the mode of the rays which he emits will be in the mode of ignorance, in a kind of nearing the ignorance. So when you are taking the sunlight every day, all the time, it is only because of that you are just living here. And if you are such interdependent on the modes of even the sun, how can you be different from the sun? So that is the reason one of the Acharya explains, to transcend the modes is not an easy thing. But how can we actually transcend? Because unless and until we transcend these modes of nature, we cannot go to Shuddha Sattva. Now, Lord Krishna explains there are the three modes in this material nature. One is goodness, other one is passion, the last one is ignorance. And for every living entity, the combination of these three things will work at every time. But generally, every individual has his own mode, his own mode, which is very, very acting high. He will be influenced by either of these three modes, one very highly than the other two. So what happens is, if at all we wanted to come to Krishna consciousness or advance in Krishna consciousness, what we should do is, first we should really know this subject matter very perfectly about the three modes of material nature, how they act and what are their characteristics. Further to understand, the chapters from now are very important. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 18. Now these 5 chapters are very important. And the conclusion in the 18th chapter, what Krishna gives is Svesve Karmani. That is a very important shloka at the end. During our systematic studies of Bhagavad Gita in our base days, our counselor stopped at that shloka for 8 days or 9 days continuous altogether, just to make us understand what our nature is. Why? See, ultimately you are in this body. No matter you might know through this knowledge or through the studies of scriptures, you might know, or you might increase your intelligence that you are not this body, but still you are this body. Because your soul is in this body now. And it always connects with this body, and it thinks that, 99.9% of time it always thinks that this is your body. 0.1 times when we read these books or when we come to the devotional service, at times we might think of that this is not our body. But all the time we act in such a way that this is our body, no matter what. So, just to understand the nature of this body, it takes a lot of time for us. We should really work upon it. On what? The svabhava of this body. And engage that svabhava in Krishna consciousness. That is the ultimate maturity. And what does Guru does? Guru exactly does this. If you are good at something, he will engage you in that service in Krishna consciousness. If you are good at something, what does it mean? In these three modes, if you are good at some skill, then he will engage that skill into the Krishna consciousness. That is what Guru's or the counselor's main work, his duty is. So it is a very real burden for Guru also to understand your svabhava and engage that in the service of the Krishna consciousness or service of Krishna. Am I understandable to any one of you, or is it an aerodynamic subject, which goes on like a bouncer?
Ardhamavadu Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So this subject matter is very, very deep. Why? Because from here on, Krishna will describe the qualities of the material nature and the modes of material nature. And at last he concludes, you engage your svabhava in Krishna service. That is the main thing. So how to understand our svabhava? We should really work upon it. It took 6 years for me to understand my own svabhava, let me be very frank. And you also will have some svabhavas. You know, that svabhava, I can say that enjoying that activity in this material world without, considering whether you have taken a meal or not. You might skip one meal for that. You know, what does Krishna does? Krishna instructs Arjuna at last, fight. Because his svabhava is a Kshatriya svabhava. You know, the mode of passion is more in him. So engage that in the service of mind. That is what Krishna advised him at last. Is it clear? Is it that simple? It's very, very simple. The only thing is that from here on, Krishna will just describe about the modes of material nature, and at last he says, Sve Sve Karmana, means engage your svabhava. So there is a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Mataji, if you can open it, shloka 11.2.35, I guess, Mataji.
Next, Ida Prabhuji.
11.2.30. No. Still go ahead, Mataji.
Mundukellala.
36. This one. You know, if everyone has time, please repeat this after me. Because there is the ultimate important shloka where Navayogendras, they tell to Maharaj Nimi, who is the predecessor of Janaka. No, descendant of Janaka. There is one king in the Janaka dynasty whose name is Nimi. No, sorry, he's predecessor only. Predecessor means before Nimi only he comes. Okay. Before King Janaka he comes. His name is King Nimi. So there is a discussion which happens between Nimi and Navayogendras. And in Navayogendras, the first one, Havir will speak this. Havir or Kabir, I don't remember. Yeah. Of these two, one will speak this. Please repeat after me. Kayena vacha manasendriyaiva.
Kayena vacha manasendriyaiva.
Buddhyatmana vanusruta svabhava. Karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai.
Karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai.
Narayanayeti samarpayeta.
Narayanayeti samarpayeta.
So in this translation, I'm just reading the translation. One word is very, very important of all the other things. Okay. In accordance with a particular nature, one has acquired in conditioned life. Whatever one does with the body, words, mind, senses, intelligence, or purified consciousness, one should offer to the Supreme, thinking this is for the pleasure of Lord Narayana. So the first sentence in this line, in this translation, is very, very, very important. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life. See, now here we all have taken birth, right? And in this group, how many members are we? 10 members. You know? Everyone has different nature. Will you accept on this one thing or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
That you will understand when spouse comes and enters into your life. You know, there is nothing like an anyonya dampatya. There is only compromises. To be frank, let us be very frank here. Okay? Why there are compromises? Because there is a difference of nature. And why there is a difference of nature? because this is what we have acquired. This is what we have longed for in our previous lives. So that is how we got this nature right now, right? So what Krishna says in this, what that Kabir says in this Kabir, what this Kabir says in this is, see, whatever nature you have acquired with your intelligence, with your senses, with your this thing, all these things, just what sacrifice, what just samarpayat. Just offer this nature also to Krishna. Krishna, this is what I have desired in my previous lives. Now I am surrendering this nature also to you. You do whatever you want with this. But what I need is, I wanted to serve you. So this is what actually Kabir says to Nimi. This is how devotional service starts. This is how we should offer ourselves to Krishna. So in this particular translation, what is very much important is the nature which we have acquired now. Krishna is telling, what is it? Kabir is telling, even offer that also to Krishna. That is how the devotional service starts. Now, with this body, my own self I am telling, I am very much interested in foreign affairs and history and geopolitics. This is my nature. You cannot take it out. Now, how can I engage that in the Krishna consciousness? See, we have a history books, with regards to Krishna. So, I very lately and very heartily and very painstakingly understood this, that I should engage my mind and senses and my nature into that. In the same way, everyone will have their own natures, their own svabhava. So we should work on that svabhava and gradually, slowly, steadily, balancedly, you should engage that service, that nature into the service of Krishna consciousness. That is the ultimate goal of life. Please listen, even though I am very heavy today, because I generally don't go this far, giving lectures and classes. But today, this modes of material nature is very important. This is the only thing which we should understand in our Krishna consciousness journey. Else, we will leave Krishna consciousness. There is no doubt in this. See, 80% of the dropouts of Brahmachari ashram is only because they don't know their nature and they'll go out. Now, we already. What, Mataji?
How do we understand our nature? What is it? And
Mataji, if you engage in that activity, you will even skip your meals, doesn't matter for you. And there is a fine difference between understanding what our nature is and what our addictions are. Now, in understanding our nature, we should not be attracted to these electronic devices like watching films 24 hours or watching singing songs 24 hours. No, those are addictions. Now, how can you understand the difference between the addictions and the material, our nature svabhava? See, when someone disturbs you while doing your svabhava, you will not get angry. But when someone disturbs you, when you are getting addicted, you will get angry on them, or that activity when you are getting disturbed. If you are so much attracted to the watching videos in YouTube or something else like that, if someone inadvertently comes and disturbs you, you will become somehow or other angry on them, right? So that is addiction. But when you are doing your svabhava, even someone disturbs you, you feel that like, I have a lifetime to do it. Let me do it. Let me do their work first. So it doesn't make any difference for you if someone even disturbs you. And let me tell you, it is not that easy. It is not that easy to understand your svabhava. It is very difficult. And it is a long and arduous journey. Am I clear till this point?
got it, Prabhuji.
Yes. So first of all, we should understand what our nature is. And the next thing is we should engage that nature into the service of Krishna consciousness. That is what this Sloka says. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditional life. Means this body has some particular nature with it, svabhava with it, right? So we should understand what it is and we should engage that into Krishna consciousness. Then what happens is actually you will really release Krishna consciousness. See, this is what happens in the days of yore. Like if you see the gopi, the communities of gopas and gopis, what they used to do, their nature is to earn money somehow or other. So with simple cow, they have done it all these things and praising that cow, worshipping that cow. Gopala, gopi. What is gopi and what is gopa? Gopa means it is their svabhava. It is not their names or their community name. The community has got, they got that svabhava, so they are engaged in that service of the Lord. Kammari, they are very much interested in shaping the things. So they are engaged into that pottery. So previous days, everything was like that. According to your svabhava, you were engaged. But now it is complete kichdi. You know, whenever we go to the stock market, we will see we will become a pure bania, right? Or whenever we go to the mutual funds and all. And whenever from my own perspective, when I see the lands nearby somewhere, I'll become a perfect bania, right? And when I do my business, I'll become a bania again. And while studying Bhagavatam, I'll be in such a mode that, you know, it assumes, I assume myself that I will reach spiritual world in the next life only. So this is a khichdi of emotions and motions. So from these things, actually, we should get streamlined. We should try to really know what our svabhava is and engage the svabhava into Krishna consciousness. That is the main theme of all this, doing all these activities. It's 8:40 now. If I start this, it will continue for days together. But I don't want to continue more than this. But I just wanted to say, please work on the svabhavas of the individual. That is very much important.
Prabhuji, but this entire universe is moving based on these three modes of the nature only, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
If you are following only one Saptugana, is it possible, to move into this entire universe smoothly?
Hare Prabhuji, see, I am not telling that only one, we should only follow Sattva-guna. It cannot be possible, Prabhu, because you are in this body.
Yeah. And in this
You
Kali
have
Yuga,
that.
it is not at all possible.
See,
No, even in
one thing
Bhagavad
is that,
Gita, Prabhuji, even in Bhagavad Gita, it is said no that one is dominant, but rest are also there, and they exist, but it's just that one guna is more dominant than the other. అలా కూడా వచ్చింది కదా ఇప్పుడు మనం చదివిన చాప్టర్ లో.
yes, Prabhuji. See, Prabhuji, let me give some examples in our own satsang. Our Leelanand Prabhu, he's a Kshatriya. If there is some fault in any one of the devotee, he will go and he will personally chastise him. He has that quality. If you take some other devotees in our own satsang who are like very much into Krishna consciousness, they cannot do it because by nature they are very soft. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You understand this, Prabhuji?
Yeah. That is the reason I got this question.
To engage where, whom? That is the main counselor's work.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is, peculiar with their own nature, Prabhuji. And some people, they are very artistic. Okay. Now the counselor work is to engage them in that services. Now ultimately, what are all these people doing? Serving the Lord, one or other, by engaging their own natures. So even though you are engaging your nature, you are not affected by those nature. That is what not being affected by gunas means. When you engage your nature into the Krishna consciousness, you are not affected by the karma.
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you should engage in a pure Kshatriya way. No. You engage it for Krishna service. Now, with your body, you have attained with your flashback or with your past, you have attained some nature. Just engage that. It be goodness, it be passion, it be ignorance. Be engaged in that. That's it. Then, as the days goes past by, you will slowly, gradually go to the Shuddha Sattva. Only after that, you can become Krishna conscious. Then the Harinam will go properly into you, Prabhuji. Till then you will just, ఇలాగే కష్టపడతాం మనం మొత్తం తలలు ఊపేసి మొత్తం శరీరం అంతా ఊపేసి అటు ఇటు నడిచేసి మొత్తం చేసేస్తూ ఉంటాం అప్పటిదాకా. But then we will really get the taste in Krishna consciousness in the Harinam.
Okay. Only in the Suddha Sattva Guna only we will enjoy the taste of the Harinam.
Prabhu, but if you have a very senior sadhu in front of him, even then also you'll enjoy Prabhu. Or if you wanted to be very much interested in Harinam, then also you will enjoy. But the only thing is that we should get such association, and we should get we should really appreciate that association.
We have to practice this Harinam.
Till that time, Prabhuji, आपका वो पापड़ पेलना ही है. Means you should go through that process, and in this process you will fall down, you will wake up, you will fall down, you will go. That is what balance is. No? Means balance means not steadiness. Balance means falling down and again standing up. Falling down, standing up. That is what balance means. Steadiness means nishtha. You already crossed this process.
Right, Prabhu.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I had one doubt. ఇప్పుడు మన సిస్టమ్ లో ఉన్న సన్యాసి మహారాజాస్ ఉన్నారంటే they have transcended all modes and they are in pure goodness mode, Prabhuji. Or do they also have these modes acting on them?
No, Mataji. They are above these things. But one thing, Mataji, like in India, why sannyasis doesn't really interact with the normal people is, even though our own Indians, I'm talking about the Indians generally, we have such a nature that we wanted to see always good in every what is a sannyasi here in India. Always good, we always keep a standard which is very, very, very high, and we always wanted to maintain our Guru Maharaj in such. We always wanted to see our Guru Maharaj in that condition. And if he doesn't perform to our expectations, we will just drop him, or our we will get disturbed ourselves. That is the reason why Maharajas don't actually give a very close access to all. See, actually Maharaj jokes also, and Maharaj will be funny also, and Maharaj will be a bit irritant also sometimes. Then we will think, he cannot control in his own mind, he is becoming irritated on me. So that is the reason this society, Indian society, they will not be so much close. They will only be close to some devotees who understand them properly, who has that maturity to understand them, what sannyasis are. But in the Western societies, people have this maturity that they wanted to be very open. At least in the American and European societies, what they understand is you should be very open. You should be what you are. So they appreciate. So that's how the mingling will be a bit open there. And here in India, it's not that close, because Indians have this quality, Mataji. What we say, familiarity breeds contempt. That is very much high in Indians. So that is the reason why sannyasis won't be clear. See, if you really there is a this, na? There is an example actually that what's in Chaupati.
Sorry, Prabhuji, what you said, Indians are very much familiar with something like you were saying, greed.
Familiarity
breeds contempt, Prabhu. అంటే మీకు ఎవరైనా ఒకళ్ళు బాగా తెలుసుందనుకోండి, తెలుసున్నారనుకోండి, వాళ్ళ మీద ఉన్న గౌరవం పోతుంది అనమాట మీకు స్లోగా.
అదే ప్రభుజీ, అవును, ఇనిషియల్ గా వేరే ఉంటది, తర్వాత క్లోజ్ అయిన కొద్దీ మనకి
మనం వాళ్ళకి ఎప్పుడు అదే గౌరవం ఇవ్వలేము. అది మన మెంటాలిటీ, ప్రభు.
Yes, Prabhuji, I observed. same thing with me also. Yeah.
Ante what happened with Arjuna to Krishna, and he realizes after the Adikada, Prabhuji.
Vishwarupa. After Bhagavad Gita, he realizes what really Krishna is.
Yeah. But he also feels guilty for doing this. Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah. But one thing, Mataji. But after this war, he's stumping Krishna on the left and right on his back, because he became Parthasarathy. So now what happens is he understands what really Krishna is, and he understood his service also. Now my service is to do Krishna, to stump Krishna on his back. What can I do? Let me do. So that is a far off realization then. Now where we are, we got diverted in between.
Yes, Prabhuji. We were.
I was speaking something
You were
else.
talking about sannyasis transcending the modes.
Sannyasis. This is the reason why sannyasis don't get together, not get very close to the Indian community, because their expectations are far too high. That's why they won't mingle with general devotees in India. But if you go to abroad, you will get sannyasis association like anything, and they will be like one of ours. That's it. Once, Radhesham Prabhu, I was just telling you, I have seen this actually in our own Chaupati. There is Vyasasana is suitable for 6 people to sit together. So whenever Maharajas come for Pushpabhishek festival or something, so Radhanath Maharaj, what he does is he will make everyone speak. So all the 6 people or 5 people, they speak. So there is one sannyasi who was actually drowsing. He was drowsing while the class was going. And we were all like, very youngsters sitting at the front. So the whole temple hall was covered by all the youngsters. And in front of us, there are, brahmacharis. Like all the brahmachari ashram was just sitting in front near the Maharajas, and we are at the back. So one of our basement actually, he started, "Hey, it is so re, ये महाराज सो रहे, तो हमारा सोने से क्या फर्क पड़ता है?" So then he also slept. So what happened is, when we came to our base, next time during our one of our base program, Govind Prabhu has come. So one of my base devotee asked, our counselor, base in charge, overall coordinator, he asked Govind Prabhu, "Prabhuji, sometimes we see this, like in Maharaj, like once, in our own base, one devotee was commenting that Maharaj himself was sleeping on the Vyasasana one day. So how to look at this, Maharaj, Prabhuji?" This is what the question asked to Govind Prabhu by one of us, by our OC. So he said, so physically he might be sleeping. If you just, ping him and ask what was going on in the class, he will tell you whole the class till that point, even if he was sleeping. That is the difference between him and us. If we sleep, we really sleep. We will go to the yoga nidra only. But their drowsing is not because of that. It is because of their age. Even at this elderly age, they wake up at 4 o'clock. Even though their body is not supporting them, they do it. But ours is not like that. So please never compare it. And this is the reason why Maharajas won't come near to general population in India. Now you understood the point, Mataji? Whatever I wanted to convey.
Yes, I understood, Prabhuji. But
sorry for giving an examples. But
I know.
yes,
But still, I feel that the same Indians who are going overseas are having more access to Maharajas than the Indians here. అది ఫేర్ అనిపించదు నాకు ఎందుకో. కి జస్ట్ ఫారెన్ కి వెళ్ళామంటే మనకి యాక్సెస్ దొరికిపోతుంది, కానీ ఇక్కడ ఉన్నామంటే మనకి యాక్సెస్ లేదు. మన ఇట్స్ ద సేమ్ ఇండియన్స్, నో ఇండియన్స్ మెంటాలిటీ అయితే ఎక్కడ ఉన్నా కూడా ఒకటే ఉంటది కదా.
No, Mataji, generally, why that is because the water changes, Mataji. If you are in Europe or US, you will behave like that, no? To some extent or not. Do you agree with this or not? Some behavioral patterns will change.
Okay.
And the other thing, Mataji, here, if Maharaj starts giving access, everyone will approach and they will go. Mataji, let me tell you that people will start asking Maharajas with all the housely problems and what to do, like a astrologer.
That is true, Prabhuji. And the population is also much more, kada, the quantity. It's very difficult to get.
They will go that their own house problems, that tomorrow is my, son's this one, please give blessings. One. The other thing, in my home, nothing is happening good. What to do? Shall we go to this thing or shall we go to that puja? Shall we do the puja? Please tell us, Maharaj. These things happened in the past, Maharaj. These things, a lot of these things happened in the past. Now, then GBC concluded, Baba, we are here to preach Krishna consciousness, not to do the daily course of their lives. That will somehow or other will happen.
True, Prabhuji.
And some fall downs are also happened with this. There are some fall downs which taken place. So that is the reason why it happened. Sorry for extending this class too much, but I felt this is necessary, so I have taken. Thank you.
No problem, Prabhuji. Bodhayanta parasparam ade kada mana objective.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
So we just revise what we did yesterday, na?
Yes, Maharaj.
Prabhuji, idena correct na? 37 kada?
Mataji, what I think is, yesterday మనం 4th దగ్గర ఆప్ చేసాం కదా, 5th కూడా కంటిన్యూ చేసాక అప్పుడు మళ్ళీ రివైజ్ చేద్దాం మాతాజీ.
ఓకే, సో అంటే 40 దగ్గర ఉన్నామా మనం?
Yes, మాతాజీ.
Okay, Prabhuji, please start.
Yeah, yesterday 40 you practiced, na?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So now it is 41. So will you please repeat after me three times a line and the whole shloka 3 times, okay? Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute.
Maya hi yasya jagadanda satani sute.
Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute.
Maya hi yasya jagadanda satani sute.
Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute.
Maya hi yasya jagadanda satani sute.
Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitaya mana.
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 Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Sattvalamba parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Govindamadi purusham
tamaham
bhajami.
Now the all 4 lines together for 3 times and then you start practicing individually. Okay. Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute. Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitaya mana. Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute. Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitaya mana. Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute. Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitaya mana. Sattvaavalambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Go ahead one by one, Mataji. Not Prabhuji.
I will proceed. Maya hi yasya jagadanda satani sute. Traigunya tadvishaya veda vitaya mana. त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Yes, Prabhu.
मायायस्य जगदन्न सतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वालम्बि पर सत्त्व विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Prabhu, ఒకసారి సత్వావలంబి పరసత్వం ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ సార్.
सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्व विशुद्ध सत्त्वं.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Go ahead, please.
माया हि यस्य जगदण्ड सतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वियात्मना वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Okay na Prabhuji, mali cheyara.
Perfect, Prabhu. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Mataji's. Any Prabhuji's left?
Raju Prabhu chestara?
Raj Prabhu. Yes, much better.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Brahma Samhita 5.40. Maya yasya jagadanda shatani sute त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय भेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Good, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Samhita Mataji chestara?
Yes, Mataji. माया हि यस्य जगदण्डशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्व विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Good Mataji. Sandhya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Brahma Samhita 5.41. Okay. Mataji, can you do it after you? I'll do it, Mataji.
Yeah. Lavanya Mataji chestara?
మీరు చేయండి మాతాజీ, నేను చేస్తాను.
माया हि यस्य जगदण्ड शतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. हरे कृष्ण.
Yeah, Sri Brahma Samhita. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Go ahead,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yeah, Sri Brahma Samhita 5.41. माया हि यस्य जगदण्ड शतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वाविलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
సత్వావలంబి ఒకసారి చేయండి మాతాజీ మిగిలిన లైన్.
సత్వావిలం. ఓకే, మళ్ళీ ఏనా ప్రభుజీ ఫస్ట్ నుండి?
మీ ఇష్టం, ఫస్ట్ నుంచి చేసినట్టు చేయండి, ఆ ఒక్క లైన్ చేయండి, లేకపోతే అది కూడా పర్వాలేదు.
माया हि यस्य जगदण्ड शतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Okay, Mataji. Now everyone is completed, no?
I'll do
No, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Sandhya Mataji.
Sandhya Mataji.
माया हि यस्य जगदन्धसतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषयवेदवितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वमिशुद्धसत्त्वम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Very good. So tomorrow what we do is everyone will practice 5 slokas continuously. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So in that way, if everyone is okay with this 5, day after tomorrow we will go to the next 5.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Shall we stop it here, Mataji? Anyone
Yeah.
has any doubts?
We can stop, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Anybody?
Sapan Prabhu, is it clear? I don't know whether I answered you or not.
Yeah, we'll talk, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रीमद् भगवत गीता की जय. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रीला प्रभुपाद बुक रीडिंग्स की जय. हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.